HOA Karen crashed a school bus with my disabled daughter inside, not knowing I'm the sheriff. I heard the impact before I saw it. Metal on metal. A sound that doesn't belong in a Tuesday morning. The kind of crunch that makes your stomach drop before your brain catches up. I was 3 blocks away when my radio crackled. Dispatch. Calm voice. Wrong words. Major collision at Maple and 14th. School bus involved. Multiple injuries reported. My daughter rides that bus. Emma, 7 years old. Cerebral palsy. Wheelchair. Yellow bus with the hydraulic lift that picks her up every morning at 7:45. I glanced at my watch. 7:52. I hit the lights. Sirens. My hands were shaking on the wheel. The scene came into view, and my world tilted sideways. The bus was on its side like a dying animal. Steam rising from the engine. Shattered glass everywhere catching the morning sun like diamonds. A black Mercedes SUV embedded in the passenger side. Right where the kids sit, right where Emma sits. I abandoned my patrol car in the middle of the street. Parents were already running, screaming. A woman I didn't recognize was being pulled back by firefighters. I pushed through the chaos. Badge out. Sheriff. But in that moment, I wasn't the law. I was just a father. Emma. My voice cracked. Professional training gone. Emma. A paramedic grabbed my arm. Young guy. Probably 25. He didn't know. Sir, you need to stay back. My daughter is on that bus. I shoved past him. That's when I saw her. The driver of the Mercedes. Standing 20 feet away. Phone in hand. Not a scratch on her. Designer sunglasses. Perfectly styled blonde hair. I knew that face. I knew that entitled smirk. Patricia Henderson. HOA president. The woman who'd made my life hell for 6 months. The woman who just crashed into my daughter's school bus. She looked at me. Recognition flickered. Then fear. Good. 6 months earlier, life was simple. Emma and I had just moved into Maplewood Estates. Quiet neighborhood. Good schools. Tree-lined streets where kids rode bikes and neighbors waved. It seemed perfect. I needed perfect. Being a single dad and county sheriff doesn't leave much room for complications. My wife Sarah died when Emma was 3. Car accident. Drunk driver. I don't talk about it much. What I do talk about is Emma, my little girl. Bright brown eyes. Smile that could light up a room. Cerebral palsy meant she used a wheelchair, but it never slowed her down. Not really. She loved school. Loved her friends. Loved the bus driver, Mr. Chun, who always played her favorite songs during the ride. Our house was a single-story ranch. I'd saved for 2 years to buy it. The front had a wooden ramp I built myself. Gentle slope. Painted yellow because Emma picked the color. The driveway was wide enough for our accessible van. White Ford Transit with a side lift. Nothing fancy. But it was ours. Every morning was the same routine. I'd wake Emma at 6:30. Help her get dressed. She always insisted on picking her own clothes. Usually something with unicorns or rainbows. We'd have breakfast together. Scrambled eggs. Orange juice. Toast cut into triangles because that's the only way she'd eat it. At 7:45, the bus would arrive. Mr. Chun would wave. The hydraulic lift would lower. Emma would roll up, and I'd watch until the bus turned the corner. Then I'd put on my uniform, pin on my badge, drive to the station. Sheriff Daniel Morrison, 15 years on the force, 8 as sheriff. Fair, firm, by the book. The neighbors seemed nice at first. The Johnsons brought over cookies. The Reyes family invited us to their daughter's birthday party. Emma made friends with a girl named Sophie who lived 3 houses down. I thought we'd found our place. Then the letters started. First one arrived in our mailbox on a Thursday. Homeowners Association letterhead. Formal language. Cold tone. Dear resident, it has come to our attention that your front ramp violates HOA aesthetic guidelines. Section 4. 2. Prohibits permanent structural modifications visible from the street. You have 30 days to remove it or face fines. I read it twice. Then I called the HOA office. A woman answered. Professional voice. Patricia Henderson, HOA president. She explained that exceptions required board approval. She'd be happy to schedule a hearing. Her tone suggested she'd be anything but happy. I explained Emma's situation. Medical necessity, ADA compliance, federal law. I understand, Sheriff Morrison. She didn't sound like she understood at all. But our neighborhood has standards. I'm sure we can find a compromise. There was no compromise in her voice, only warning. I should have seen it then. The edge beneath the politeness, the control disguised as concern. But I didn't. Not yet. The HOA hearing was scheduled for a Wednesday evening. Community center, fluorescent lights, folding chairs arranged in rows like a courtroom. About 20 residents showed up. Most looked bored. A few looked curious. Patricia Henderson sat at the front table. Power suit, pearl necklace, reading glasses perched on her nose like a weapon. 2 other board members flanked her. They looked uncomfortable. She looked thrilled. I brought documentation, ADA guidelines, doctor's letters, building permits, everything legal and airtight. Emma sat beside me in her wheelchair. I'd told her it was just a meeting. She wore her favorite purple dress, kicked her feet slightly. Nervous energy. Patricia called the meeting to order. Her voice echoed off the walls. Professional. Practiced. She read my case number like I was on trial. Sheriff Morrison is requesting an exemption to maintain an unpermitted access ramp. She emphasized unpermitted like it was a criminal offense. The board must consider neighborhood aesthetics and property values. I stood, kept my voice level. With respect, Mrs. Henderson, this isn't about aesthetics. It's about my daughter's ability to enter and exit our home safely. Federal ADA law supersedes HOA guidelines. She smiled. Thin, cold. Federal law requires reasonable accommodation, Sheriff. It doesn't require that specific ramp in that specific location. Perhaps a portable ramp would suffice? Portable ramps are unsafe for wheelchair users. They shift. They're not weatherproof. My daughter is 7. I understand. She didn't. But we must consider all residents. Your ramp sets a precedent. What's next? Handrails? Grab bars? Where does it end? A woman in the 3rd row spoke up. Mrs. Johnson, the one who'd brought cookies. I think the ramp is fine. It's painted nicely. Doesn't bother me. Patricia's smile tightened. Thank you, Linda. The board will take all opinions under consideration. The vote was 3-0. Deny the exemption. Remove the ramp within 60 days or face $500 weekly fines. Emma tugged my sleeve as we left. Daddy, what happened? Nothing, sweetheart. Just grown-up stuff. But it wasn't nothing. 2 days later, another letter arrived. Our accessible van was now a violation. Commercial-style vehicles prohibited in residential driveways per Section 7. I called Patricia directly. She answered on the 3rd ring. Sheriff Morrison, I was expecting your call. The van isn't commercial. It's medical equipment. It looks commercial. It's larger than standard vehicles. Unsightly. Where exactly am I supposed to park it? I'm sure you'll find a solution. Perhaps a storage facility? A storage facility? How is my daughter supposed to get to school? Silence. Then, I'm simply enforcing the rules, Sheriff. Rules everyone agreed to when they purchased here. You're not special just because you wear a badge. She hung up. I stood in my kitchen, holding the phone. The afternoon sun streamed through the window. I could see Emma in the backyard. Sophie was visiting. They were drawing with chalk. Laughing. I wanted to keep that laugh safe. But Patricia Henderson was just getting started. And so was I. The citations came every week after that. Trash cans visible from the street past 8 a.m. $50 fine. Grass half an inch above regulation height. $75. Holiday decorations up 2 days past the approved period. $100. I paid them. Documented everything. Kept my anger in check. Emma noticed. Kids always do. Why is that lady mean to us, Daddy? I was tucking her in. Night light casting soft shadows on her unicorn posters. She's not mean, sweetie. She just has a lot of rules. I don't like her rules. Neither did I. Patricia started attending city council meetings. I'd see her there, always in the front row, always speaking during public comment. Never about the HOA, always about community safety concerns. Traffic violations, speeding in school zones. She glanced at me when she said it, making sure I was listening. She was building something. I just didn't know it yet. The neighbors began choosing sides. Some quietly supported us. Mrs. Johnson still waved. The Reyes family invited Emma to another birthday party, but others avoided eye contact. HOA politics. Nobody wanted to be next on Patricia's list. Then she went after Emma's bus stop. I got the call from the school district transportation office on a Tuesday. The coordinator sounded apologetic. Sheriff Morrison, we've received a complaint about your bus stop location. The HOA is claiming it blocks traffic and violates a neighborhood covenant. It's been the same stop for 3 months. There's never been a problem. I understand, but we have to investigate all complaints. We may need to relocate the stop 2 blocks east. 2 blocks. Uphill. No sidewalk on that stretch. I'd have to drive Emma there every morning. Load her. Unload her. Make myself late for work. Patricia knew exactly what she was doing. I showed up at her house that evening. Colonial style. Manicured lawn. American flag perfectly centered. She answered the door in yoga pants and a crisp white blouse. Wine glass in hand. Sheriff Morrison. To what do I owe the pleasure? You need to stop. She tilted her head. Innocent expression. Practiced. Stop what? The bus stop complaint. The citations. All of it. You're harassing my family. Harassment. She laughed. Light. Airy. I'm enforcing community standards. If you can't follow simple rules, perhaps Maplewood Estates isn't the right fit for you. My daughter has every right to live here. Of course she does, as long as you comply with the covenants you signed. She sipped her wine. You know, Sheriff, you spend so much time enforcing the law. Perhaps you should try following it yourself. I could feel my jaw tightening. Professional discipline fighting instinct. If you continue targeting my family, we'll have a problem. Her smile widened. Is that a threat? From a law enforcement officer? How inappropriate. She closed the door in my face. I stood on her perfect porch, breathing, counting. Behind me, I heard a camera shutter click. Security camera. Red light blinking. She'd recorded everything. The video appeared online 3 days later. Someone sent me the link. Facebook group. Maplewood Estates Community Forum. 1,200 members. The post had already been shared 40 times. The footage showed me on Patricia's porch. The angle made me look aggressive, leaning forward, finger pointed. My voice was clear enough. If you continue targeting my family, we'll have a problem. Patricia's response was edited out. Just my threat. Isolated. Damning. The caption read, Local sheriff threatens HOA president for enforcing neighborhood rules. Is this the leadership we want? The comments were worse. Abuse of power. He thinks his badge puts him above the law. What kind of example is he setting? A few people defended me. Mrs. Johnson, the Reyes family, but they were drowned out by the noise. My phone rang. Captain Reynolds, my second in command. Daniel, you seeing this? Yeah. City manager's office called. They want a statement. It's out of context, Tom. I know, but it looks bad. Real bad. Take a few days. Let it cool down. I didn't want a few days. I wanted to work. Work kept my mind straight. But orders were orders. Emma's teacher called that afternoon. Ms. Parker. Kind voice. Worried tone. Mr. Morrison, I wanted to give you a heads up. Some parents have been asking questions. About Emma. About the video. My chest tightened. What kind of questions? Whether she's safe. Whether you're stable. She paused. I shut it down immediately. But I thought you should know. They were coming after Emma now. Not directly. Never directly. Just questions. Concerns. Planting seeds of doubt. That evening I sat Emma down. Living room. Cartoons muted on the TV. Sweetheart, Some people might say not nice things about Daddy for a while. Her eyes went wide. Why? Because I had a disagreement with Mrs. Henderson. But it's going to be okay. Is she still mad about our ramp? Yeah, baby, she is. Emma was quiet for a moment. Then, I wish we never moved here. That broke something in me. My daughter, 7 years old, wishing away her home because one person couldn't stand seeing a wheelchair ramp. I pulled her close. We're not going anywhere. This is our house, our neighborhood. Nobody gets to take that from us. She hugged me tight. Promise? Promise. But even as I said it, I wondered if I could keep it. The next morning, I started documenting everything. Every citation, every complaint, every interaction. Timestamps, screenshots, recordings when legal. If Patricia wanted a war of documentation, she'd get one. I'm a sheriff. I know how to build a case. I just didn't know how far she'd go to win. Not yet. The school bus route ran past Patricia's house every morning. Right on schedule. 7:48 a.m. She'd started standing at her window, watching, waiting, planning. I started noticing the pattern on a Thursday. Patricia's black Mercedes, always leaving her driveway at 7:45. Exact same time as Emma's bus. She'd follow it. Not closely, just enough to stay visible in Mr. Chen's mirrors. 2 blocks. 3. Then she'd turn off. Every single morning. I mentioned it to Mr. Chen one afternoon. School pickup. He was checking the hydraulic lift. Grease on his hands. Concerned look on his face. Yeah, Sheriff. I've seen her. Thought maybe it was coincidence at first. He wiped his hands on a rag. But it's been 2 weeks now. Same car. Same time. She even honks sometimes when I stop to pick up kids. Honks. Like I'm going too slow. Making her late. He shook his head. I follow every safety protocol. Speed limits. Full stops. She just seems angry. I felt ice in my stomach. Has she done anything dangerous? Not yet. But the way she drives? Aggressive. Tailgating. Yesterday, she passed us on a blind curve. Nearly hit an oncoming truck. I thanked him. Drove home. Started making calls. My deputy, Sarah Chun, no relation to the bus driver, owed me a favor. I need traffic surveillance. Maple Street corridor. Morning routes. Past 2 weeks if you can get it. What am I looking for? Black Mercedes SUV. License plate Victor Henry 3792. Cross-reference with school bus Route 12. She called back 3 hours later. Daniel, you need to see this. The station conference room. Laptop open. Traffic camera footage compiled into a montage. 14 incidents over 12 days. Patricia's Mercedes following the bus. Closer than legal following distance. Running stop signs to keep up. One clip showed her nearly sideswiping a minivan to stay behind the bus. She's stalking it, Sarah said quietly. Can we charge her? Reckless driving maybe. But nothing stuck yet. No accidents. No witnesses willing to file complaints. She looked at me. What's her endgame here? I didn't know, but I could feel it building, like thunder before lightning. That night, I installed a dashcam in my personal truck. High definition. Motion activated. If Patricia was escalating, I needed evidence. Real evidence. The kind that holds up in court. I started driving different routes in the morning. Parallel to the bus. Keeping distance, but staying close enough to respond. Emma thought I was being overprotective. Daddy, you don't have to follow my bus. I'm not following. Just heading to work early. She gave me that look, the one that said she knew I was lying but loved me anyway. It's okay to be worried, she said. Miss Parker says it's okay to have big feelings. 7 years old, teaching me about emotions. I kissed her forehead. You're pretty smart, you know that? I know. The next morning, Patricia didn't just follow the bus. She tried to run it off the road. Tuesday morning, October 15th, 7:48 a.m. The air smelled like rain. Clouds hung low and gray. Emma had worn her yellow raincoat, the one with the duck pattern. She'd been excited because they were doing art projects at school, painting pumpkins. See you after work, Daddy. Love you. Love you too, sweetheart. The bus pulled away. I watched it turn the corner like always. Then I got in my truck, followed my new routine. Parallel route, eyes on the road, radio on low. I saw Patricia's Mercedes pull out of her driveway, right on schedule. She accelerated hard, tires squealing slightly on the wet pavement. My gut twisted. I grabbed my radio. Dispatch, this is Sheriff Morrison. I need a unit at Maple and 14th. Possible reckless driver following school bus, Route 12. Copy, Sheriff. Unit responding. ETA 4 minutes. 4 minutes. The bus would be at the 14th Street intersection in 2. I pressed the accelerator. My dashcam was recording. Everything was recording. Patricia's Mercedes closed the distance behind the bus. Too close. 15 feet. 10. Mr. Chun tapped his brakes. Warning. The bus's lights flashed. She didn't slow down. The intersection ahead had a traffic light. Green. Emma's bus proceeded through. Standard speed. 25 miles per hour in a school zone. Patricia accelerated. She swung into the left lane, trying to pass. The light turned yellow. The bus was already through. Patricia was halfway into the intersection when the light turned red. I saw the sedan coming from her right. Silver Honda. Teacher from a middle school. She had the green light. She had the right of way. Patricia didn't stop. She swerved. Overcorrected. Her Mercedes fishtailed on the wet road. Tires screaming. She missed the Honda by inches. But she didn't miss the bus. The impact was deafening. Metal crushing metal. Her front end slammed into the passenger side of the bus. Right rear panel. Where the kids sit. Where Emma sits. The bus lurched sideways. Mr. Chun fought the wheel. But physics doesn't negotiate. 37,000 pounds of school bus. Momentum. Wet pavement. It tipped. Slow motion. Impossibly slow. The yellow metal tilting. Windows shattering. Kids screaming. The hydraulic lift ripping free. The bus hit the ground on its side. Sparks. Grinding. Glass exploding outward like a crystal rain. Then silence. Horrible, crushing silence. I abandoned my truck in the middle of the street. Engine still running. Door hanging open. My boots hit the wet asphalt. Sprinting. Badge forgotten. Gun forgotten. Just a father running toward the worst moment of his life. Emma. Other cars stopped. People poured out. Cell phones already dialing 911. Someone was crying. A man was yelling about calling an ambulance. I reached the bus. Side door now facing the sky. Emergency exit. I climbed up. Pulled the handle. It resisted. Jammed. I pulled harder. Something in my shoulder tore. Didn't care. The door gave way. Inside was chaos. Kids crying. Some upside down, still strapped in seats. Mr. Chun was conscious. Blood running down his face. He was trying to reach the children. Emma Morrison. I shouted. Where is she? Back left. His voice was weak. Sheriff, I couldn't. I crawled through the wreckage. Backpacks. Lunchboxes. A shoe. Someone's glasses crushed under debris. Then I saw her. Yellow raincoat. Crumpled against the side panel. Her wheelchair had torn free from the safety locks. Landed on top of her. 12 pounds of metal and wheels pinning my baby girl. Her eyes were closed. Emma. Emma, baby, wake up. I lifted the wheelchair. Tossed it aside like paper. Gathered her in my arms. So small. So still. Her chest moved. Shallow. Breathing. Sirens finally. Screaming closer. Paramedics. Fire trucks. The world rushing in too late. I held my daughter in the wreckage of a school bus. And 20 feet away, Patricia Henderson stood beside her Mercedes. Phone in hand. Not a scratch on her. Watching. If you were in my place, what would you have done? The paramedics had to pry Emma from my arms. I didn't want to let go. Couldn't. She was breathing but unconscious. Blood matted her brown hair. Her left arm hung at a wrong angle. Sir, we need to work. Please. A female paramedic. Young. Competent hands, already checking vitals. Her partner was setting up a backboard. Orange plastic. Sterile efficiency. I stepped back. Hands shaking. Uniform soaked with rain and someone else's blood. Not Emma's. Mr. Chen's, maybe. Or another kid's. 11 children on that bus. 11 families about to have their world shattered. I watched them load Emma into the ambulance. Neck brace. Fräulein. Oxygen mask covering her small face. She looked even tinier surrounded by all that equipment. I'm her father. I'm riding with her. Are you injured? No. Then you drive yourself. We need the space to work. The doors slammed shut. Sirens wailed. The ambulance pulled away, and I stood there. Useless. A sheriff who couldn't protect his own daughter. Someone touched my shoulder. Captain Reynolds. When did he arrive? Daniel, let me drive you. My truck. Leave it. Come on. The hospital was 12 minutes away. Felt like 12 hours. Reynolds didn't talk. Didn't ask questions. Just drove. The radio crackled with updates. Multiple units on scene. 3 ambulances. Media already circling. And Patricia Henderson in custody. That snapped me back. In custody? Witnesses say she ran the red light. DUI suspected. She's at the scene now, with Martinez. Reynolds glanced at me. Daniel, you can't go near her. You know that. I did know. Professional detachment. Chain of custody. I was a victim's family member now. Not law enforcement. Not on this case. We reached Regional Medical Center. Emergency entrance. Organized chaos. Other parents arriving. Mrs. Parker, Emma's teacher, was in the waiting room. Mascara running. She hugged me without words. A doctor found me 20 minutes later. Older man. Gray beard. Calm eyes that had delivered bad news before. Sheriff Morrison? I stood. Legs weak. How is she? Your daughter is stable. Concussion. Fractured left radius. 3 cracked ribs. Significant bruising. We're running a CT scan now to check for internal injuries. But she'll be okay? He hesitated. That pause. The one that means complications. The concussion is our primary concern. There's some swelling. We're monitoring her closely. The next 24 hours are critical. Critical. Medical speak, for we don't know yet. Can I see her? Soon. She's in imaging now. Someone will come get you. He left. I sat down. Put my head in my hands. Mrs. Parker sat beside me. The other children? 7 treated and released. 2 admitted for observation. Mr. Chun has a broken collarbone and concussion. Everyone will recover. Everyone but Emma. Still critical. Still uncertain. My phone buzzed. Text message. Unknown number. This is what happens when you don't follow the rules. I stared at the screen. Read it again. Then again. Patricia. Had to be. Even now. Even after nearly killing children. She was still playing games. Reynolds saw my face. What is it? I showed him. His jaw tightened. That's evidence. Forward it to me. Don't respond. I didn't. But God, I wanted to. Emma woke up 6 hours later. Groggy. Confused. Scared. Her left arm was casted. Monitors beeped steadily. The hospital room smelled like antiseptic and fear. Daddy? I was at her side. Instantly. I'm here, baby. I'm right here. What happened? Where's Mr. Chun? There was an accident. But you're safe now. Her eyes filled with tears. It was loud. Everything was spinning. I couldn't find you. My heart broke into smaller pieces. I know, sweetheart. But I'm here now. I'm not going anywhere. The doctor came in. Checked her pupils. Asked questions. Emma answered quietly. Yes, she knew her name. Yes, she knew what day it was. No, her head didn't hurt too bad. The swelling is minimal, the doctor told me privately. Good signs. We'll keep her 72 hours for observation. But I'm cautiously optimistic. Cautiously optimistic. Better than critical. Reynolds appeared in the doorway an hour later. He waited until Emma fell back asleep before speaking. We need to talk. Hallway. I kissed Emma's forehead. Told the nurse to get me immediately if anything changed. Followed Reynolds outside. Patricia Henderson failed a field sobriety test. Blood alcohol content 0.11. Legal limit is 0.08. He pulled out his tablet. Showed me photos. We found an empty wine bottle in her car. Receipts show she purchased it at 9 a.m. this morning. She was drunk, chasing a school bus at 7:48 in the morning. It's worse. We pulled her phone, records. She texted her lawyer 3 minutes before the crash. Quote, handling the sheriff problem today, one way or another. Premeditation. Intent. Not just drunk driving. This was targeted. What else? Reynolds swiped through more images. Traffic camera footage. She's been following that bus for 3 weeks. 17 documented incidents. Running lights. Illegal passing. Yesterday, she nearly caused a pileup on Chambers Street. Why didn't anyone report it? Some did. Complaints filed with the school district, but nothing actionable. No accidents. No injuries. He paused. Until today. My dashcam footage, already logged as evidence, shows everything. Her running the red. The impact. Your response time was 45 seconds. You did everything right, Daniel. Everything right. My daughter was still in a hospital bed. Reynolds continued. Martinez interviewed witnesses. The Honda driver. 3 pedestrians. All say the same thing. Patricia accelerated through the red light. Deliberate. No attempt to brake. Charges: DUI, reckless endangerment, vehicular assault. 11 counts for the kids. 1 count for Mr. Chun. DA's considering attempted murder based on the text message and pattern of behavior. Attempted murder. Patricia Henderson, HOA president, soccer mom, wine-drinking tyrant in designer sunglasses. She tried to kill my daughter because I wouldn't remove a wheelchair ramp. Where is she now? County lockup. Bail hearing tomorrow morning. Daniel, Reynolds put a hand on my shoulder. You can't be involved in this case. You know that. I did know, but I'd be in that courtroom anyway. As a father, not as a sheriff. The arraignment was set for Thursday, 2 days after the crash. Emma was stable enough that I could leave for a few hours. Mrs. Johnson stayed with her. I wore civilian clothes, jeans, button-down shirt, no badge, no gun, just a father seeking justice. The courthouse was packed. Media trucks lined the street. Cameras everywhere. This was news now. Local sheriff's daughter. HOA president arrested. Drunk driving. School bus full of kids. The story wrote itself. I sat in the gallery. 3rd row. Close enough to see everything. Far enough to stay invisible. Other parents were there too. Mr. Chen's wife. The Reyes family. Mrs. Parker. We formed a silent wall of grief and anger. Patricia entered in an orange jumpsuit. Hands cuffed. Hair flat. No makeup. She looked smaller without her designer armor. Her lawyer walked beside her. Expensive suit. Practice confidence. Robert Brennan. Known for defending the indefensible. She didn't look at the gallery. Didn't look at anyone. Judge Margaret Chen, different Chun, no relation to our bus driver, presided. Older woman. Silver hair pulled back. Reputation for being tough, but fair. The People versus Patricia and Henderson. Case number CR 2025-8847. The prosecutor stood. Assistant DA Marcus Webb. Young. Hungry. He'd called me the night before. Asked permission to go hard. I'd given it. Your Honor, the People request remand without bail. Ms. Henderson is charged with 12 counts of vehicular assault, 12 counts of reckless endangerment, 1 count of DUI, and 1 count of attempted murder in the 2nd degree. Attempted murder. The words hung in the air like smoke. Brennan rose smoothly. Your Honor, those charges are inflammatory and excessive. My client is a respected member of the community. No prior record. She's willing to surrender her passport and wear an ankle monitor. This was a tragic accident, nothing more. Accident. Webb's voice cut sharp. Your Honor, may I present evidence? Judge Chin nodded. Webb projected images onto the courtroom screen. Traffic camera footage. Patricia's Mercedes following the bus. Day after day. 17 incidents. Close-ups of her running stop signs. Tailgating. Nearly causing collisions. Then the text message. Blown up. Undeniable. Handling the sheriff problem today. One way or another. Gasps rippled through the gallery. Reporters scribbled furiously. This was sent, Webb continued, at 7:42 a.m., 6 minutes before Ms. Henderson ran a red light while intoxicated and crashed into a school bus carrying 11 children. One of those children is Emma Morrison, 7 years old, cerebral palsy. She remains hospitalized with a concussion, fractured arm, and cracked ribs. He showed Emma's photo, the one from school picture day. Big smile, rainbow shirt, alive and happy and innocent. I felt my throat close. Brennan tried to recover. Your Honor, that text is taken out of context. My client was simply what, Mr. Brennan? Judge Chen's voice was ice. Simply threatening a law enforcement officer? Simply stalking a school bus? Simply driving drunk through a red light? Brennan went silent. The judge turned to Patricia. Ms. Henderson, do you have anything to say? For the first time, Patricia looked up. Her eyes scanned the gallery. Found me. Held my gaze. No apology. No remorse. Just cold calculation. Even now, she thought she'd win. Thought money and lawyers could erase what she'd done. No, Your Honor, she said quietly. Judge Chen's expression hardened. Bail is denied. Given the evidence of premeditation, the severity of injuries, and the defendant's clear pattern of escalating behavior, I find there is substantial risk of flight and danger to the community. Ms. Henderson will remain in custody pending trial. The gavel struck. Patricia's face went pale. Brennan leaned in, whispering urgently. Guards moved forward. As they led her out, Patricia looked back one more time. Not at me. At the exit. At freedom disappearing. I stayed seated as the courtroom emptied. Other parents nodded to me. Silent solidarity. We'd won the first battle. But the war wasn't over. Outside, reporters swarmed. I pushed through without comment. Got in my truck. Drove back to the hospital. Emma was awake, coloring with markers Mrs. Johnson had brought. Daddy, look what I made. A rainbow. Bright. Hopeful. I hugged her carefully, avoiding the cast, the bruises. It's beautiful, sweetheart. It's for Mr. Chen, to make him feel better. 7 years old, in a hospital bed, thinking of others. Patricia Henderson had tried to break us. She'd failed. The trial lasted 3 weeks. Emma was discharged after 5 days. Concussion resolved. Ribs healing. The cast would stay on for 6 weeks. Physical therapy, twice a week. Nightmares every night. She'd wake up screaming, reliving the crash, the sound of metal, the feeling of falling. I'd hold her until the shaking stopped, tell her she was safe. Wonder if she'd ever believe it. The prosecution built an airtight case. Traffic footage, witness testimony, toxicology reports, phone records. They painted a picture of obsession and escalation. A woman who couldn't tolerate being told no, who weaponized her authority, who chose violence when manipulation failed. Brennan tried everything: character witnesses, expert testimony about accident reconstruction, claims of mechanical failure. Nothing stuck. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. I was back in the gallery. Emma stayed home with Mrs. Johnson. Too young for this. Too fragile. But I needed to be there. Needed to see it through. The jury filed in. 12 faces. Solemn. Certain. Has the jury reached a verdict? The foreman stood. Middle-aged man. Teacher. Father of 3. We have, Your Honor. On the charge of vehicular assault in the first degree, 12 counts. How do you find? Guilty on all counts. Patricia's head dropped. Brennan whispered, urgently. On the charge of reckless endangerment, 12 counts. Guilty on all counts. On the charge of driving under the influence? Guilty. On the charge of attempted murder in the second degree? A pause. The longest pause of my life. Guilty. The courtroom erupted. Gasps. Tears. Someone behind me sobbed with relief. Judge Chen's gavel cracked like thunder. Order. I will have order. Patricia stood slowly, face blank, shock maybe, or disbelief. Even now, she couldn't accept that consequences applied to her. Sentencing was immediate. Judge Chen didn't wait. Ms. Henderson, you have been found guilty of 25 criminal counts stemming from a deliberate, premeditated act of violence against children. Your actions were not a mistake, not an accident. They were the culmination of months of harassment, intimidation, and escalating aggression. Patricia's lawyer started to speak. The judge cut him off. I have read the victim impact statements. 11 children and one bus driver whose lives you endangered. Emma Morrison, a 7-year-old girl with cerebral palsy, who trusted that the world was safe, who trusted that adults would protect her. You shattered that trust. Judge Chen's voice never wavered. It is the judgment of this court that you serve 15 years in state prison. No possibility of parole for 8 years. You will surrender all HOA authority. You are permanently banned from serving on any homeowners association board. Upon release, you will complete 500 hours of community service and undergo mandatory counseling. 15 years. Patricia's legs buckled. Guards caught her, led her away. She looked back one final time, found me in the crowd. I didn't look away, didn't give her the satisfaction of anger or gloating, just steady eye contact, father to monster. She'd tried to destroy my family because we wouldn't bend to her will. Now she'd spend 15 years learning what real consequences felt like. As they took her through the side door, she was crying, not from remorse, from losing. People don't like losing. But Patricia Henderson had lost everything that mattered to her. Power, control, freedom, status. And Emma? She'd lost 6 weeks in a cast. Some nightmares, some fear. But she still had me, still had her home, still had her future. Outside the courthouse, reporters rushed forward. I ignored them, got in my truck, drove home. Emma was in the living room, drawing. She looked up when I entered. Did the bad lady go away? Yeah, baby. She did. Good. Emma returned to her drawing. A house, a ramp, a girl in a wheelchair, smiling. Home. 6 months later, Emma's cast came off. Spring had arrived, trees blooming, kids playing outside again. The neighborhood looked the same, but felt different. Lighter somehow, like a weight had been lifted. The new HOA president was Mr. Reyes. First order of business? Repealing the architectural restrictions. Wheelchair ramps were officially approved. So were accessible vans. Common sense replacing tyranny. 3 more families with disabled children moved in. The neighborhood was changing. For the better. Emma's nightmares faded slowly. Therapy helped. Dr. Williams was patient. Kind. Specialized in childhood trauma. Emma called her the feelings doctor. Loved the play therapy sessions. The art. The safe space to process what happened. Mr. Chen returned to driving. Different route. Different bus. But same warm smile. Same kindness. He stopped by our house once a month. Brought Emma books. They'd talk about school. About healing. About moving forward. She's resilient, he told me one afternoon. Stronger than she knows. He was right. Emma had a steel core beneath that gentle exterior. She'd survived. She'd recovered. She was thriving again. The other kids from the bus? All healed. Some faster than others. Sophie and Emma were inseparable now. Best friends forged in fire. They had sleepovers. Giggled about boys. Acted like normal 7-year-olds. Because that's what they were. Normal kids who'd survived something abnormal. I returned to full duty after 3 weeks. The department had been understanding. Captain Reynolds covered for me. The community supported us. Cards, meals, donations for Emma's medical bills. We weren't alone. We'd never been alone. Patricia's house sold in February. New family moved in. Young couple. 2 kids. They introduced themselves. Brought cookies. Admired our ramp. We love that you made it so welcoming, the wife said. Accessibility matters. Simple words. Revolutionary after Patricia. I planted flowers along the ramp that spring. Emma picked the colors. Purple, yellow, pink. Bright splashes of life against the wood I'd built with my own hands. The ramp Patricia had tried to erase. The symbol of our fight. Our survival. One evening, Emma and I sat on the porch. Sunset painting the sky orange and gold. She was reading. I was just watching her. Alive. Healing. Here. Daddy? Yeah, sweetheart. I'm glad we didn't move. Me too. This is home. Yes, it is. She smiled, returned to her book. Content. Safe. I looked at our street, the ramp, the van, the flowers, the neighborhood that had become a real community. Not because of rules or restrictions, but because of people choosing kindness over control. Patricia Henderson was in prison. She'd serve her time, learn her lessons or not. That was her journey now. Ours was different. Ours was about healing, building, moving forward. Emma turned a page. The evening breeze carried the scent of fresh flowers. Somewhere down the street, kids laughed. Normal sounds, beautiful sounds. We'd survived the storm, found our way through the darkness, and we'd come out stronger on the other side, together, where it mattered most, home.